Are we live? Hey, good evening, Rachit. Is my audio and video okay? Uh, can somebody confirm me if my audio and video is okay or not? Awesome, awesome. Thank you. Okay, okay, okay. So for today, we are going to create a file sharing application. You may have seen there are several servers which help you to share some big files, right? So we are going to create one such website where anybody can come upload any file, right? However big it is, right? You will get a URL which you can share. You will get a URL which you can share with anybody, and he or she can download it from the given URL, right? Or you can send them to their email address, right? This file will be deleted at midnight. Understood what we are going to create today? So this is a file sharing website where people can come upload their files, right? They will get a link which will expire at midnight, and they can send via email also. Okay. So I have some setup already done over here. These are the dependencies for this project. I'm going to use .env, EJS, Express, Mongoose, Multer for file upload, NodeCron, NodeMailer, UUID, Morgan, and Node1. That we have nothing which we have not already seen, right? I have my EJS download.EJS in views. It is basically a section with an image, right? If there is an error, we show those errors. Uh, we say that the link will expire in 24 hours, but it would be midnight for us, right? We have our download file link and we have some SVG on the right. Okay. Then we have public.js where we have 404 file, that is page not found, right? We have our index.html and the CSS attached to it. The front end is very straightforward, so I'm not going into details in the front end side. I also have an uploads folder where all the files are going to be stored, right? I have the utils folder where I have written the email template. This is basically where I am getting some parameters, that is email from, download link, size, expires, and I'm returning a string in which I have written all the HTML. Okay. Remember whenever we are sending an email, na, you cannot write any CSS over here, right? I mean, not all CSS is supported by the email vendors. Okay, even Gmail do not support all the CSS. So you have to be very precise. Also use tables whenever possible, so that your your whole email template looks good. Okay, so always use tables, always use inline styles. Okay, and remember, not all CSS is supported by the email vendors. So you have to be very precise in the CSS terms. Right. Now let's create, I have my .env over here where I have all the configuration set up. Let's create our app.js, the starting point. Can you hear me now? Can you guys hear me now? Okay, okay, awesome. Right. So, till now we have just required all the things that we are going to use. So we are going to use NodeCron, we are going to use Express, we are going to use Path, we will be creating db.js in config, right? We will have a function inside services file cleaner called fetch and delete data, which will find everything and delete the data that is being stored for the day, right? I have this scheduler.schedule that this means that at midnight, call this function. Okay. Then I have set up my views folder path. For views, we have path.join directory name and views, right? And I have set up our view engine as EJS. Okay. Then we are going to set our middlewares. So app.use express.json to have application.json accessible for us, and app.use express.static, the public folder. Okay. Then whenever we are at the main URL app.get, whenever we are at slash, which should return the index.html file. Okay, we are going to get request, we are going to get response, and we will just send a response.send file index.html. Okay, the root for this would be path.join dir name public. Okay, so public index.html sent whenever we are at slash. Okay, we are at the home page of the website. Then to have the all the URLs for files, we should have app.use slash API slash files. Okay, and we are going to write it inside routes as usual. I'm not following models views controllers for today, but for you guys, that should be followed. Okay. For pages, I'm going to write it in pages file, right? Now, whenever any URL is not found, okay, you have some page where you want to show 404, right? Whenever you want to show 404, at the last over here, whenever you are defining all the URLs, when the API does not come to slash or slash API files or slash API pages, if any of these does not uh, is not the case, right? So we should write a 404 page. We should throw for 404 that is not found, and we write it like this: app.all star request response return response dot status is 404 dot send file 404 dot html. right? And again from the public folder. Okay, but remember this should be the last app.use or app.all. Okay, so first it will try to find out if any of the URL is matching this. Then it will try to find out if any of the URLs is matching this or this. If any of it is not the case, then it will go to over here. Then let's listen to the port. Console.log server is running. Okay. I hope you guys don't have any doubts still here. I hope you guys don't have any doubts in this file, right? Over here, this is just the new thing that we have learned today. Right. Let's create our file cleaner service. .env dot config. Take it from here. Okay. Now we are going to use the file model. We are going to create a model in Mongoose for file. So let's require it over here. Models slash file. Okay. And we are going to use the file system. So we require the fs module. Right. Now let's create our function. The name of the function we have written is fetch and delete data. Okay, this would be an async function. The purpose of this function is to find all the data that have been saved and delete it. Okay, let's find the files in Mongo first. Again, first use try and catch. How do I find? File dot find. Okay, what are the parameters? Parameters are created at, which Mongo does it from itself, should be less than what? New date minus 24 hours. So date dot now minus 24 into 60 into 60 into 1000. Okay, this is 24 hours. So if the created at is less than 24 hours, so we should delete all the file at midnight. Okay, so files dot length, if you find some files for file of files. Okay, this will return each file inside the array of files. Right? Try to delete them. So try catch hmm, fs dot unlink sync plus file dot path. Okay, await file dot remove. Right, this is how you delete a file. First of all, you need to unlink it. Okay, and then you do file dot remove. This will delete all the files in the uploads folder. Okay, understood? We are going to save the whole file path till uploads. So we are going to save it in MongoDB. Okay. We will find all the files that have been created 24 hours prior. We will loop over them and we will first unlink them from the file system and then remove them. This understood? Any doubts in this file? Any doubts in this file? First, we are going to find all the files which is there in the MongoDB, find all the path, right, which have been created 24 hours prior. Then we will first unlink it from the file system and then delete it. Okay? Okay. There we are going to need another service for sending up the emails. Let's write it in services email.js. We are going to use node mailer. So let's require node mailer. Let's have the configuration from env file. process.env.smtp host URL. Okay. Port I have set up in SMTP port. Okay. The next thing that I'm going to require is the user name and password. This, whatever services you use in your node mailer, when you go to node mailer, you create an account. You will find all these things in. We have already covered this in our previous lectures. So mail password. Okay. Now let's create a function called send email. We are going to require from to subject text and the HTML. Okay. If we are going to use a sync, we should have try and catch. Okay. Let's create a variable called transporter, which would be mailer dot create transport. Okay. The host is host. The port is the port. Secured, not auth, is the user, and pass is the password. First, you create a transport, then you send the email. Right? Now, let's send the email. Transporter dot send mail from, uh, let's say the name of the application is say Share Easy. Okay. Two, we are taking from the params. Okay. Subject also we are taking from the params. Text also we are taking from the params, and HTML also we are taking from the params. Okay. This basically sends the email with all the credentials. I hope there is no doubt over here. Hey Harsh. No doubts? Okay. Let's connect to our database. There is nothing new that I'm doing. Let me know if you have any doubts. The MongoDB URI I have set up in process.env.mongoURI. Okay. And the options. Use new URL parser. Set this to true. Okay. And use unified topology. Use unified topology. Set this to true. Okay. Let's have our connect DB variable. console dot error the error. Okay, and over here let's try to connect with the MongoDB. Await mongoose dot connect the Mongo URL with Mongo options. And when this is done, let's console log connected to DB. Okay. We are also going to need one more config for file upload.js. Okay. Here we are going to set up our multer. Before this, do you guys have any doubts? I hope not. No? Okay. Use unified URL and topology. Um, I don't have the exact answer right now. Let's connect on Discord. We'll tell you there. Okay. Or try to find out. Try to have a Google search. You will find out the exact thing. Okay. File storage. Multer dot disk storage. Okay. We called the function, and let's put in the configurations. The destination should be, we'll get request, we will get file, and we will have a callback. Inside this callback, let's put in null and the uploads folder. Okay, this would be our destination folder. Then the file name. We will have a request, we will have the file, and we will have a callback over here. Let's create a unique name for each files. Okay, by appending date to it. Okay, this is a very good practice with the file names, otherwise you will have duplicates. Math.round math.random into 1e to the power 9. Okay, and let's append the extension also. Path.ext name, file dot original name. Okay, this extends the this makes all the unique thing, right? You can always use a UUID for this. Let's send the file to the callback. Let upload is equal to multer Storage is file storage. Okay, let's set up some limit. File size 10 to the power of 7. Okay, this is the file size that we can store. We will have a single file at a time, right? And let's export this upload. Okay, now let's create the models. There would be one single model for file only, which we call it file.js. Okay, let's have mongoose for this. Schema is equal to mongoose.schema. File schema is equal to new schema. Put in our schema in this. We will have a file name. Type is a string. Required true. Okay. We will have some path. Type string. Required true. Right. Then we will have some size. Size of the file. The type would be number. UUID of the file which we are going to share. Type would be string. This would also be required, right? Uh, then we would have a sender of the file and we would have a receiver of the file. Okay, and because we are using created at, so we should have timestamps to true. Okay, this should be over here. Okay, let's export this also. Module dot exports mongoose dot model. The name of this would be file with the file schema. Okay, this is a straightforward thing. Now comes the main part, the routes. Okay, we have two routes, one for file and one for pages. In the file routes, first of all, you need a route for uploading the file. So let's create it. express dot router module dot exports. Great. We need the upload, which we have created in config. Require from dot slash config slash file upload. Okay, we are going to use UUID. So let's have the UUID. File model. Let's require the file model. And we can send it via email also. So let's have the function that we have created. Send email inside our services. We are going to require the email template for sending the email. It is inside my utils folder. And we are going to create this URL, right? So we need wherever we have deployed it. So we need that URL. So I've put it in base URL inside my env file. process.env.app base URL. Okay. Now let's create our routes. Because we are creating something, so we would have router.post. Let's call the route as slash upload. Okay, we will get request, we will get response, right? We already have created the upload function. Pass in the request, pass in the response, and have a callback. This would be an async callback. Okay, wherever we have async, we should have try catch. Right. If your request.file does not exist, then we should return from here with response.status. 404.json file not detected. Okay. Now if we find the file, then we have to upload it inside our uploads folder and save a reference in our Mongo. Okay. So constant file equal to new file, the model that we have created. Okay. Let's pass in the file name. It will come in request.file.file name. Okay. Let's create a UUID. Let's call in UUID v4. The path of the file is request.file.path. Size would be request.file.size, right? Because this is going through Multer, so we would have path and size over here, right? Simply save this into Mongo now. Await file.save. Right. Now we have this in our MongoDB, correct? And Multer will take care of uploading it in the uploads folder. Inside upload, we have already written that it should be in the uploads folder. Okay. If everything goes okay, we send response.status 200.json. We need to send the file path, correct? So file is, it starts with the base URL. It starts with the base URL. So your base URL. Then we have API pages download page. This much is constant. So API pages download page. And then the UUID. Saved file dot UUID. Okay. Then this UUID that we have created. Okay. I hope there is no doubt in this. For uploading the file, it is anyways going through the Multer. We have this upload function already here, right? If we do not find the file, we send 404 with the status with message that file is not detected. If we have the file, then we save it in the Mongo database, save an instance in the Mongo database, and send in this URL back to the client. Okay. Now let's create an API for sending the file through email. Okay, let's call it send. We will have a request, we will have a response. This should be an async function. Let's have our try catch. Response.status 500.json error is E. Right, what do we want to do over here? First of all, you will get a UUID, you will get receiver's email, and you will get sender email. Where? Inside your request.body, right? If any one of them is not there, then what do? We say that all fields are necessary. If any one of them is not there, then we say response.status 422.json Error, all fields are necessary. Okay, let's put this over here as well. If everything is okay, then what do we do? First of all, we need to find it in the database, right? Found file in the database with the UUID. Okay, and change the sender and the receiver which are coming from the form. Change the sender and receiver which are coming from form. Okay, so found file dot sender email or just sender is equal to sender email. Let's call it sender's email. Found file dot receiver is equal to receiver's email, right? We have already created a function called send email. So simply pass all these things into send email function. It will send the email from sender's email to receiver's email, right? Subject would be file shared with you. Okay. Text would be sender's email shared a file with you. Okay. The HTML would be the email template. Email template also requires some of the data. So email from sender's email, right? Download link is basically this link. This should be found file. Right. Size is parse int found file dot size divided by 1000. This converts it into KBs. Okay. And expires in 24 hours. Okay. Now this returns a promise, so we can use dot then and dot catch, or we already have async or await. So let's simply await it over here. If everything goes as planned, we will send response dot status 200 dot JSON success as true. Okay, over here. Hmm. So you were getting UUID, receiver's email, sender's email, and request.body. If any one of them is not there, then we will send all fields are necessary. Otherwise, we found the file. We find the file using UUID in your MongoDB. You change in the senders and receivers, right? You call the send email function with all the data that is required and the email template, right? If everything goes as planned, you will say that response.status 200, otherwise response.status 500. All good? Line 7. Yes. Thank you. Line 9 as well. Thank you. Okay. All good till here? So, for uploading the file, you simply save an instance in the database. You call the upload function, right? I have created different functions so that I can use it at some other projects as well. Okay. Over here, I have used multi.disk storage. I have set in the destination. I have changed the file name to some UUID, to some random string with date included, right? And I have called in the multer. Then to send the file to an email address, I will get UUID receiver's emails and sender's email. I will find it in the database and I will call the send email in which I have used node mailer with HTTP transport and I have used transport.sendmail from to subject text HTML, etc. Right? I hope there are no doubts. Router.port. It should be router.post, not port. Spelling mistakes, Harsh. Thank you for pointing out. Right. Let's have router over here as well. Let's have our model file and the base URL from process dot env dot base URL, app base URL. Right. Now, router dot get. This is for downloading the file. Okay, you can download the file from your server also. Download page with some UUID. Okay, in this we get a callback with request response, try catch. Okay, or since this is going to download the file, I should change this. I should render an HTML. So let's say response.status is 400 in place of 500, and in place of .json, I render downloads with error message. Okay, so that it does not break over the email. Now, file is equal to await file dot find one UUID is coming from request dot params dot UUID. If file is not found, we do this again, and in place of this we say link expired. Okay, otherwise response dot status 200 dot render downloads UUID file dot UUID. Okay, this download is over here. The download, if I go to this URL, it is basically converting to this. Okay, the download file is handled over the front end. File name is file dot file name. File size is file dot size. Download link is base URL slash API slash files slash download slash the file UUID. File dot UUID. Okay, this goes to front end. Front end handles the downloading part. Right? Let me give you an overview again. In app.js, we connected our database. We created a scheduler, uh, which on midnight will find and delete all the files that have been created uh, with created at time less than 24 hours. Okay. Then we find uh, we find the file in the uploads folder. We unlink it and then we delete it. Okay. Then we have our we send index.html over here whenever we are at slash URL. If there are two routes that we create, API for files and for pages. For files, there should be files, right? For files, we have an upload and we have said on upload, we created a function called upload, okay, which is basically a multer with the file storage and the file size. We set up it to 10 to the power 7 bits. Okay, we are going to have single file at a time. Then we have this multer.s storage. We have a destination folder and we have created a unique file name. Okay. We save the file in the MongoDB with the UUID file, path, size, etc. We create a URL and send it back to frontend to show it over here, which he can copy and go to that, right? We also give an option of sending the file over email. So we have another API, post API for sending over email, right? We can create global variables for download link, or you can save it in the database also. That is up to you. Okay. Uh, in this post, we have three things: UUID, receiver email, and sender email. If any of them is not found, you say that all fields are necessary. Then you find the file, you change the sender and receiver, okay, and you call this function send email, which is using node mailer with all these configurations. Okay, we first create a transport with all these things, and then we send mail with all these things, right? The email template, we have written it over here, which is basically a string in which all the HTML is written. Whenever we create an email template, we have to remember all the CSS is not supported by email vendors. Okay, so we have to be very, very cautious of what CSS is supported and what not. And also, we have to remember that we should create tables, not divs or spans in your emails. Okay, and we should try to use inline styles. Now, for pages, we have only one get in which we have download page slash the UUID. We find it in the MongoDB. If file is not found, we say that link is expired. Okay. Otherwise, we say 200. We have the downloads, right? And we pass in the download link. Front end handles the download thing. Okay. I hope there are no doubts. We upload a file. We get a URL. We copy this URL. We come over here. We have this download button. We are shown the size of that file. Okay. And we are said that the link will expire in 24 hours. We can download this file, right? Or we can send it over email. I hit send. If I come to Gmail now, I see this file over here. The same thing. I can download the file. I have the file size in KBs. Expires in 24 hours, right? Good luck. Hope it works, right? The project is very straightforward, but this is a very cool service to have. There are many vendors which charge you for the same thing, where they allow you to upload very big files on their server and they charge you for the disk storage, right? I hope you guys are aware of such services, such cloud services. Right. So this was all for today's class. I will meet you in the Mahasabha BC. Peace.